All right, so for chapter 1, introduction to information and communication technology. So this is coverage for our prelim. But for this video lesson, we're going to discuss only coverage on your book on page 6 to 10. So the IT era book. So I hope that you have it already. So because we're going to use that textbook for the whole semester. So let me read you the objectives. So at the end of this chapter, not only for this session, but whole chapter 1, the students should be able to define ICT. So, and the second one is to trace the evolution of technology, particularly computers, then identify the different parts of the computer system and categorize the different computer peripherals and assess why computers are considered to be powerful thinking machines and explain the role of technology in media and how it affects communication and recognize the current trends in information technology. So again, let's discuss first. The first coverage for this chapter 1 is on page 6 to 10. So information and communication technology. So this is an overview. So, well, the concept of technology has evolved throughout the years. So, as the rate of human progress increased, society has adopted in such a way that technology no longer appeals to mechanical or electrical system alone. So you notice that technology is evolving, right? So you notice that. By the way, I think I don't know if you're familiar that there are three types of technology. So there are, which first is the low technology, the mid technology, and high technology. So when you say low technology, so it doesn't have a battery or electronic operated. So example for that, we have textbooks, pencils, notebooks. So those are examples of low technology. So when you say mid technology, so a device that is battery operated, and then the high technology is electronic operated, so such as computers or mainframe computers or desktop computers or other devices that is electronic operated. So the term technology is an advancement in communication and how information is handled. Okay? So, thus enabling governments, organizations, industries, common individuals to improve on their decision making, business processes, and everyday living. So, they use technology and they keep on innovating. Why people do innovate? Because they want to improve something or try to modify something. So that something that is more convenient and more accessible and so much more for that reason. While ICT, it facilitates the transfer of information and various types of electronically mediated communication. However, the term ICT itself was considered too broad. That Zupu created an ICT hierarchy to identify key aspect rather, such as, so let's move on to the next slide. We'll just go back later. So as you can see here, according to Coleraine Zupu, that ICT has divided into these four aspects. So we have ICT in business or IT, ICT in education, economic sector, and economic development. So in every aspect of ICT, they have these subsets. Okay, let's go back to the previous slide. So in economic development, we do have this mobile signal infrastructure. So it means that it's the economic development coverage for this is a mobile signal infrastructure, the mobile devices, and of course, for the education. Okay, for the education, we have the skills and competencies, devices and tools, and pedagogies. So in ICT in education, it's more on trainings on how to be skilled or skillful in using ICT or in computers and then by using this those devices that can help improve education. And then another one is ICT in business. Of course, we do have these architectures and devices. Okay, of course, in business, you really need to have this technology, no, especially in ICT. Okay, next one is belongingness. So when you say belongingness, is that human need to belong. So according to Baumeister and Leary in 1995, the belongingness hypothesis states that people have a basic psychological need to feel closely connected to others, and that carrying affectionate bonds from close relationships are a major part of a human behavior. Diba you notice when you're far away from your family or your loved ones, you notice that kailangan din ka na to have this communication with them. So that's why you need to text them, or if you're out of the country, you do have this different kaning mga video conferencing, or this Skype or Messenger or FB. So because you need to be connected to those people. So this includes communication, di ba? Be face to face or online through voice or even simple text messages. So that's why belongingness is human need to belong. So through communication. Okay. Next one is, all right, so the information technology and information and communication technology, or ICT. So when do we use the term ICT and how does it differ from it? So when you say IT or information technology, it pertains to the industry that involves computers, software, networking, and other IT infrastructure to help relay or manage information important in modern day living, as seen primarily in large companies or corporation. So it deals largely with the methods and tools used in said collecting, processing, and sharing. So next one is, it is a subset of ICT, as technology is used in a field of IT aids in the use of ICT by Wang in 2016. So information technology, you notice it's more, it's a in the industry use, right? It's a bigger organization and then more complex. So if in the industry, then they need to have this information technology for their organization or their company to make it more organized and systematic. So that's why they need to have this kanang network administrators, programmers, because they need to have customized software for their company, right? So while ICT, or information and communication technology, often used in more general sense. So, and it is described as using computers and other digital technologies to assist individuals or institutions in handling or using information. So, it is also that technology that supports activities involving information such as gathering, processing, storing, and presenting data. Then these activities also involve collaboration and communication. ICT is mainly used in academic setup. So it means that utilizing or using audiovisual equipment for learning at school. So still remember, when you're at school, we do have this audiovisual equipment, right? While IT is used in more complex and a bigger organization, this was said earlier, that IT is used in more complex and bigger organization or bigger companies. That's why they have these big networks, or they need to have a network administrator for this. Even though at school we still have a network administrator, but compare it to the bigger companies, they have this big network compared to our school, right? And then again, so the difference between IT and ICT is that ICT it's mainly in academic setup, and IT is more on is being used or mainly used in industry or in bigger companies or large corporations. So this time, so this is a breakdown of ICT. Okay, so here, so breakdown of ICT or living in information technology era. All right, so ICT is made up of three words. So, namely, we have information, communication, and technology. So, let's start with information. So, what is information? Information refers to the knowledge. Let me use this one. Knowledge obtained from reading, investigation, study, or research. So, when we do reading or investigating something, or when we study or do research, we are trying to or gaining information, right? Refers to the knowledge of obtaining. You are trying to obtain from reading, investigation, study, or research. So it means that we get some information when we read, investigate, study, or research. So information, some of the tools that transmit information are the telephone, TV, and radio. So, not to be confused with data, information is regarded as processed data. So, computers normally process data that are later understood as information. So, example, when you type using your keyboard is considered as input data, right? Because you are trying to put in information in your computer, while the words and sentences you see on your computer monitor is considered as output information. Okay? So information is needed to make decisions and to foresee the future. So it means that if you get some information, then it helps you to make decisions. So, for example, a scientist can detect the information of a tsunami using the latest technology and warn the public to avoid disasters in affected areas. So, when they get an information about the tsunami, and then that's the time that they make a decision whether to inform the people or not. Okay. Next one is that process information is called knowledge. So remember, process information is called knowledge. So what do you mean by knowledge? So a knowledge, it helps fulfill daily tasks. For example, knowledge is used to predict tomorrow's weather and decide if there is a need to bring an umbrella. And then knowledge is also used to analyze the stock market and check which company is worth investing on. So if you have no knowledge already, then it's called the process information. So it's up to you to decide something, what to do next, since you gain knowledge from the information that you have read or checked. Okay, next one is communication. Okay, so communication is an act of transmitting messages. So remember, when you communicate, you are trying to transmit messages. Information is exchanged between individuals through verbal and nonverbal. So not only verbal, you could communication is also possible for nonverbal. So in ancient times, humans communicated through signs or symbols, as the evidence by cave paintings and drawings, rock art or stone carvings, and the like. So still, you notice with some of the movies, they have this kanang mga kanang the mummy or kanang mga ingana gani siya na mga symbols. So they are trying to communicate, di ba? For the people na mag-check ato. So daghan kay mga movies na ingana. So they are trying to relay a message or to say something na meaning ana. So forms of communication have evolved through times as communicating more and more complex ideas has become necessary. And now, with technology, communication is faster, diba? More convenient and more efficient. So when face-to-face meeting is not possible, long-distance communication or virtual communication is now common and easy with the use of smartphones and computers with the internet. So sama karon, it's a pandemic. So of course we still need to continue our work or our studies. So that's why there's a lot of with the help of this technology, there's a lot of means how to communicate with with our customers or with our students or teachers. So yun nga na. So communication is very important, good. And then with the help of technology, everything is possible. Next one is technology. So technology, it evolved in ways that improves people's daily activities. Sometimes we should not always depend on technology because it makes us more lazy. So of course we need to use technology to to improve ourselves, but not to become dependent on it. Okay, matapulan ang mga tao. And then technology has made communication much easier, right? And faster, such as through the telephones, fax machines, mobile devices, and the internet. It has also made broadcasting of information, such as news or weather reports, more effectively. Okay, so even though that you don't have TV or television set at home, as long as you have the mobile phones and then you have the internet, you could still get some information from the from the from the authorities or what happened na sa karon. So so daghan kaayo ways gyud and means. So we also do have this radio, television, satellites, and the World Wide Web are powerful tools that can be used by individuals to gather needed information to aid them in their work, school, or simple day-to-day activities. So that's enough for our first session for this for chapter 1. So again, coverage for this, it's on page 6 to 10. So see you next meeting.